Lovelies, you're welcome to Perfect Glamour Fashion. Today we're going to be learning how to couple this dress. We've already done a cutting tutorial, so if you have not seen that video, go and see it. In the cutting tutorial, we divided our front piece in 3 places. So this is one of it. Now notice the center front is not going to be cut off. So there is an allowance because I want to join the center front. Also, remember that we said we're going to be slashing and spreading this part. So I did my opening by 1.5 inch. You can use 1 inch if you have a smaller bust. If you have a bigger bust than 37, you can use 2 inches. For the sewing allowance, I'm using 1 inch for the side. And then I'm using 1/2 inch for joining allowance for the down part and the upper part. And then for the front part and the center front. Okay, the only place I'm using 1 inch is for the side. The rest is 1/2 inch. I'm doing the same thing for the second pattern. That's the waist to the hip. For the back, I've already added the zip allowance, so I'm going to add the other sewing allowance to the side and to the shoulder and the hip line. Now for the Ankara, I need you to pay close attention, okay? You will needing 72 inches. That's 2 yards for the front and for the back. So 2 yards for the front, 2 yards for the back, okay? Now, for me, I want my Ankara to go vertically, not the horizontal way that it's printed. So I will just cut it that way. And keep measuring till you reach 72 inches. Alright, the first thing you want to do, if you are familiar with slash and spread, I'm really sorry that this part is shaking. Now, if you're familiar with slash and spread, the first thing you have to do is to mark your start line. Okay, so mark the length of one of the pattern pieces you're using. When you've marked the length, you use that to mark the length. That's where the pattern pieces will stop. So you mark a straight line. Okay, that will serve as a reference point for you. So now you divide that straight line by 2. That if you cut your pieces into 3, the way I did, you divide that straight line by 2. This is in order to place my pattern pieces with the same measurements. Just look carefully, you would understand what I'm doing. Now I'm placing the first one. You know this is on fold. Okay, this is on fold. That allowance you see there is the what I used to join it. I joined it in the center to be able to accommodate what I want. So this is on fold. When you place the first one, you place the number 3 at the end of your material. Okay, you place the last one, even if your own number 3. If you pieces your own into 4 or 5, whatever, just place the last one at the end of the Ankara. Then you can now place the second one, or as many as your pieces is. You can now divide the center equally and then place the third pattern, or it depends on how many you pieces your own pattern. For me, I just did 3 because I didn't want papers to be flying around. So now that we have done that, the next thing we're going to be doing is to join the tips. I'm going to use your chalk to join the tip. I'm ruling the tip of this. Just look carefully. Then I'm forming that V. If you observe the dress, you see that there are 2 V's. So, and this is cut on fold. So this is one of the V's. It's going to represent the 2 V's. As if you're doing a sweetheart neckline. So you join this tip to this V, and then you're joining from the V back to the other tip. Just look closely. It's very simple actually to do. It's very simple. Just look carefully and you'll pick it. It's not that difficult. So I'm going to join this V to form something that looks like a sweetheart neckline. Okay. Alright, so if at this point you've not liked this video, I don't know what you're waiting for. So do well to like the video, do well to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, Subscribe, consider subscribing. We post sewing tutorials that will help you to become a fashion pro. All right, for the back, we're going to do exactly what we did for the front. Get the length of the pattern piece, one of the pattern pieces, because they're all the same length. So get the length and rule a straight line. This is to form your reference. Okay? This is just to make your work easy, actually. Then you divide this by two. This is just the way we did for the front. Divide it by two and rule your line. This is where your second pattern piece would be at. Okay, this is where you place the second pattern piece. And then you place your third pattern piece or your last pattern piece at the end, at the far end of the fabric. Remember, for the front, 2 yards for the front, that's 72 inches, and 2 yards for the back, 72 inches. This is in order to give you that fullness. You see the way our style inspiration is looking so full. This to give it that fullness. So we are going to also rule a sweetheart-like shape here. Okay, so that you can match what we have in the upper parts. When we're done doing this, we're almost done. The next thing we're going to do is now to couple. Okay, I've joined the front with the half-inch sewing allowance that I left for it, and then I'm going to cut the facing for this. It's simple. Just get any pieces of the material, place that is on fold this time around. Okay, so this is going to be on fold this time around, and then you place your front piece that you have already joined, turn it to the front to make it easy, and then you cut it out. For the shoulder, I'm going in by 2 inches. I'm going to stop at 2 inches or 2.5, depending on what's comfortable for you. And then I will join. By now, you should know how to cut facing. It's very simple. This is just the simple way to cut facing. Okay, and then I'm doing the same thing for the back. Now, this is how I'm going to place it for the front. Okay. Now for the back, I'm also going to fold another fabric and then place my back. I'm also going to cut out. It's very simple to do actually. And then for the shoulder, I'm also going to use 2 inches or 2.5, depending on what's comfortable for you. For the shoulder, I'm not going to cut it all the way to the end of the shoulder. I'm just going to up at around 2 inches or 2.5, and then I'm going to cut my desired shape down there to connect to where I stopped by the at the shoulder area. Now that I'm done with this, the next thing I'm going to do is to place it and just make sure that it aligns. Once it aligns, you're good to go. That's how to cut facing, in case you don't know how to cut facing. All right, now that I've next thing I want to do is to place my facing in the front. I'm going to place it front side facing front, okay? Front facing front. And I'm going to use my pin to hold it, and then I will go to my sewing machine and sew. Remember to hold it with pin, hold it round with pin, especially if you're a beginner, hold it round with pin so that it doesn't end up. I've already sewn the back, front side facing front, sew and then turn over and iron, okay? For the waist region, now this is the underbust part, okay? We're going to be joining the down part to the Ankara, and the upper part, we are going to be joining it to the shoulder to underbust region that we, explained how to go about before now. So what we're simply going to do is to flip this over and use pin to arrange it the way we want to sew it. So do well to do this with pin first so that you don't get confused. The goal is that the midpoint will meet, the middle point will meet. Okay, the pointy area will meet that U-shaped area in the upper parts, in the bust area. So that's the first place I'm even going to pin because we want it to meet. Then for this side, you can gather it, you can pleat it. For me, I'm going to pleat it. I like pleating this kind of thing so to give me that even look. But you can gather it if you want, if that's easier for you. So I will pin the side to the side of the upper part. When I'm done pinning, then I'll find the midpoint of the upper part and then find the midpoint of the waist part. Okay, and then I'll join the midpoint also. This is just to make sure that it is even. Okay, that's why I'm going through all these processes. So when I've joined it, the next, I'm going to be pleating 1 inch before this pin and 1 inch after the pin. So you see that, that's what I'm doing. So with that, I will just have 2 pleats, but they will be even. You see that now? So that's how I'm going to do for both this side and the other side. So it's very simple to do once you want yours to be even, or you can just go ahead and run a gather stitch and pull it together if that's what you want. For me, I just like it to be even. That's why I go through all the stress to make sure that it is even. Okay. All right. The next thing is that we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew this part. Now we're done sewing this part. We're just going to notch, okay? Do well to notch this part. If not, it's not relaxed even when you iron it. So notch that center, not very close to the sewing thread, but don't cut the sewing thread. If not, it's just be open. Okay. Don't cut the sewing thread, but then notch it, notch, and iron. Iron it very well so that it will look neat and well relaxed. As you can see, my sides are matching. That's why it's good to join it with pin first. My sides are matching. That's very important. And my center is matching. So that's very important also. Then go ahead and iron this part. And next thing we are going to be doing is to join the Ankara to the lower part of this piece. Now to the point that everyone is waiting for. I love this part so much because it will tax your creativity. Alright, so go ahead and notch the center of the lower part. No, we've joined the upper part. So the lower part, that's the hip region. Notch the center and then place that notch center at the middle point of the Ankara. So middle to middle. Now with my pin, also I'm going to pin the middle point of the Ankara to the middle point of the black material, and then that first V, I'm going to be pinning it to the first the spiky looking yeah on that place that look like horn. So I'm going to be joining it there, and then for the last part, I'm going to be joining it to the side of the upper bodice. I'm going to do the same thing for the side. I'm also going to do the same thing for the back. I wasn't able to capture the process of fixing this whole thing for the back, okay? But it's simple. Just follow the lines. All right, so I've joined the back. I've even gathered the back and I've joined it. If you look closely, you notice I pleated the back. I'm going to add zip and I'll be back. So now I'm back. Yeah, I've added the zip. Are you seeing how even that is looking? I've added the zip, and then you see the Ankara is meeting. The Ankara is meeting the other Ankara, so do well to make sure your own meets. And then I'm joining the front to the back now. I'll join it at the shoulder region and I will join it at the sides. Okay? When you're joining it at the side, make sure that the Ankara and the fabric meets. Ankara will meet Ankara fabric, black fabric will meet black fabric so that it will look neat. You can put pocket if you want. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to cut the sleeve. Okay, do well to cut your sleeve however you want to do it. For me, my material was finished at this point, so I'm just trying to manage my material. If you see how I'm doing it, in case you don't know how to cut cap sleeve, just watch closely. You see how I'm doing it. I'm going to divide my biceps by 2 and add 1.5 sewing allowance, or you can add 2 inches sewing allowance. I'm going to rule a broken line to meet